Anno 1800 have just launched their console edition, and I'm here to tell you if it's worth picking up whether you're new to the series or a seasoned veteran. Now, I've mostly covered the base game in previous videos, so it's pretty clear at this point that I really love the PC version of this game. So for the purposes of this review, I'm going to focus purely on the console edition, the content, and the controls that it has on there. But just in case you aren't familiar with the series, let me quickly break down exactly what you can expect from Anno 1800. Anno is basically what you'd get if you crossed Factorio with city skylines, and then threw in a bit of Sid Meier's Pirates in there for good measure. It's set in the Industrial Revolution, so you are tasked with building up your islands to build up your company, make as much money as possible, and eliminate your opponents by any means necessary. You can pretty much do whatever you want. You can go for extreme economy, you can go for extreme military aggression, you can get everyone on side, you can play the game any way that you'd like, so whether you are a beautiful city builder, or you are hardcore into your optimization and production chains, there is something for you in Anno 1800, and I honestly cannot recommend the full PC version of this game enough to anyone that's remotely interested in these concepts. But how exactly will this translate to a console version, since, if you ask me, Anno 1800 is a quintessentially PC game? Well, let's go downstairs and find out. Hello, welcome to my living room. Yes, this is my Evil Genius chair, thank you very much for asking. So I've been playing around with the story mode / tutorial, which I highly recommend, by the way, if you're new. It teaches you, well, pretty much everything that you need to know up until, I believe, you get to the new world, which is the second instance, which I haven't actually got to yet because it takes quite a while because this game is very large. But I digress. So I've been playing around for a couple of hours, got my first island on the go, and I've got a pretty good idea and pretty good feel for how the game actually plays. Now, for the most part, the controls are honestly pretty good, or as good as I think a game like this can be on a console. Building a chain of different resources like the lumber or the soap, sausages, bricks, anything like that is actually really good. I really like this drop down thing. I know we have kind of the same thing on the PC edition, but I'd quite like if this same sort of UI and then you mouse scroll or I'll press a button and it switches between the two. There might be a way to do that, I just don't know about. I'm kind of bad at games, but I digress. Anyway, yeah, I really like that because you can build one thing and then you just press down on the D-pad, you go to the next thing and build that, and then you're pretty much done. You don't need to go into the menus over and over again, which is really, really good because the menus, they're fine, they really are, but radial controls, for me at least, always feel really wonky. It's fine, and they work great, but I do wish two things. You have to go into the radial and then press X when you've selected what you actually want to do. I wish that you could just go into the thing, swipe to it, and then let go, and it'd do that, but it's not the end of the world. And secondly, when you've got something selected, sometimes if I want to then go to another menu, it doesn't respond automatically. Sometimes I have to like drop the thing that you've got currently in your hand and then open the menu again. I'd quite like it to just open the menu whenever I press it, because say I accidentally select the townhouse, I don't want to, I know it's like literally not even a second of time to press circle and get rid of it and then pick the thing that I actually want, but it would save you time, and you know, over the course of playing this game for many hours, that is going to probably be something that would annoy you a lot and you're just like, oh man, I wish it'd just get rid of it. But for the most part, the menu system is pretty good. Another thing that I really like about these controls is the roads. Now in Anno PC, whenever you want to drag roads around something, you just use your mouse and drag roads around something, and you can do that on this, but you can also do this really cool thing that when you are building roads, if you hover over a building, it'll draw roads around that entire building and everything that that building is like connected to. So say I have these farmhouses, if I go to build roads and then just put my selector in the middle of all those houses, it's going to build a perfect circle around all those houses, which is really great and saves you a lot of time doing the rather finicky work that is road building, and I really like that change. That is something that's really good, and again, I would like to see that on the PC version if it isn't already. Even things like the complex statistics menu are pretty good. Sometimes it's a little bit wonky, and again, I think this is just going to be something that I need to get used to, but it's really good. It separates it into all these different areas, so you can press circle, it go into like the over menu, select the area that you want to focus on, press X, go to that, say I want to get to consumer goods, scroll across, press circle, go down, and then I can scroll through all the consumer goods and check them all out, change your production views, etc., sort by all these different things, and it works like not as well as it would on PC, but obviously it's not going to because you're doing it on a console, but it still works really well and is really quite easy to navigate. Zooming around the map is just fine. You hold down R1 and it activates this super hyper speed. Alternatively, you can go onto the map and then hover over any island that you want and press X to teleport your view there, which again is really useful. You can't click on the minimap like you can on the PC edition, but this is a good enough replacement and means that you can get around the map very quickly anyway. One thing about this map though, I do wish you could direct your ship from the map view, because as it is now, you have to zoom around the map while selecting your ship and then like queue up different actions, because when I get into a new map, I like to get my ship, tell it to go to each of the four corners, and then like do a load of things in the middle to basically scout out all the islands for me. And you can't do that from the map on this version. You have to do that from the regular ship view, and it took me like, I mean, only like 2 minutes, but compared to just opening the map, selecting the ship and going boom, 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 you know, it's taking like 4 times as long to do the same action. And again, over the course of an entire game, or many games, or hundreds of hours of this game, because believe me, you can get hundreds of hours out of this game, that will be something that I imagine would start to just rub me up the wrong way, and I wish that there was a way around that. But that seems like something they could easily patch out, be able to select ships on the map menu and direct them from there. Another thing that kind of annoyed me is tutorial pop-ups, and granted this might be because I've played Anno before, I don't really need the tutorial, I simply played it because, you know, I want to know how the controls worked, and this is the easiest way to start a game of Anno without, you know, the instant stress of having to be a successful company, because with the story it kind of takes it a bit easy on you. It seemed that the tutorial pop-ups could only be removed by doing what they were telling you to do. Like, I had a blueprint because I didn't have enough wood to build something, and it wouldn't go away until I built the blueprint, but it was stopping me from seeing what I was doing. Like, I was trying to build all these houses and roads, and I couldn't see where I was building roads because the pop-up was in the way, and I couldn't figure out how to get rid of it. As I said, yes, if you're playing this game for the first time, it probably won't be that bad of a thing, because that pop-up will actually be useful to you, but I just want to get rid of it so I could finish building my road, so that I could then do what it was asking me to do. Now, obviously, the building isn't as easy as it is on PC, especially for me, because building on PC is so much more precise. With a mouse and a keyboard, you can select exactly where you want to go. You can get so granular with the mouse, you can zoom right in and move your mouse just ever so slightly to get it in the perfect position. So of course it's not going to be as precise as that, but it's not that bad. It's probably taken me like twice as long to build the same stuff that I would on PC, maybe a little bit more, but it's perfectly playable, and it does a perfectly fine job, especially for a console. I'm very impressed, to be honest, because city builds on console, when I thought of Anno on console, I was like, wow, that can't be playable, but you know what? It's very, very playable. And also, I don't play on consoles a ton. I've played God of War, I've got Ghost of Tsushima, and a couple of other games on PS4, I play some Switch, I play some Steam Deck, but most of my gaming and most of my time is spent on the PC, so of course I'm not going to be amazing with the Xbox or the PS5 controller, they're not even remotely similar. But if you play all your games on console and you're used to flicking around with the sticks and doing precise movements, then it's probably not going to be as bad for you, and you're probably going to pick it up way faster than me. So I think this is a bit more of a me problem from not playing a lot of console games than it is an actual problem with the game. Now, outside of controls, moving on to content, you have the full base game here, emphasis on the base game. What that means is none of the content packs are available, so that means no Land of Lions, no long passage to the Arctic, none of the season passes, none of the extra content is here. You purely just have the base game. Now, don't get me wrong, with the base game of Anno, you still have easily hundreds of hours of content. There is tons to do, tons of difficulties, tons of different, you know, AI personalities to take on, but on the PC edition, there is 4 years worth of DLC, and it's really high quality DLC for the most part. It adds a ton more content and ups those hundreds of hours to possibly thousands of hours if you are really in deep in the game and want to do every single thing with every single AI. Now, I get not wanting to launch all the DLC for a number of reasons. First of all, it'll be incredibly overwhelming to someone that's shopping for Anno and they see, oh, we've got Anno, this is what happened when I bought Anno, also I got it on a sale because, you know, PC, but, you know, you've got Anno Basic Edition, you've got Anno Gold Edition, you've got Anno Deluxe Edition, you've got Anno Complete Edition, Anno 4-year Anniversary Edition. There are so many editions that, first of all, for console players, and for new players, that's going to be incredibly intimidating, especially when it's not on a sale, because all this stuff is full price. And also getting all the DLCs to even work for console. Like I said, there are different instances. You got Land of Lions, you got the Passage to the Arctic, you got Cape Shalonit. There are many new instances in the full DLC-ridden version of the game. Again, all of those to work with the console edition and all the new buildings and all the new mechanics. Yeah, that's going to add a ton more work for the devs, so I understand why they haven't done it on day one. Plus, it'd be basically like having 4 years of DLC, but day one DLC for the console players. So imagine how that looks. This game launches for £35 base, £45 deluxe edition, which doesn't really get you much more from what I can tell, so I'd probably go for the basic edition if you're going to get it. Then imagine on top of that you have 4 season passes and then extra bits of content, cosmetic pieces of content. You'd be like, what the hell is all this? Like, I just want to play a game, I don't want to invest in a mortgage here. I digress, there's still a ton of game here, but the main thing that concerns me is that at the moment there are no plans to bring any of the content to the console edition, which is quite concerning for me, because if I was investing in this and I'd seen Anno on the PC, I'd be like, well, I want to do, you know, if I ain't got a PC and I see Anno on the PC and then it comes to console, I'm like, well, I want to do exactly what the PC can do because I've seen all this cool stuff that you can do on it. But then if I hear that there's no plans to add all the DLC, then that's going to be like really, really disheartening, because you're missing out on, as I said, a massive ton of content. So I hope that it's just one of the things that, like, when we launch, there are no plans to add the DLC, because, you know, we don't want to overload our workers and our devs on something that might not be profitable. Like, say the console edition doesn't do very well, I can understand why they won't want to do the extra DLCs, but if the edition does really well, then they're like, okay, we're going to come back to this, we're going to add all the DLCs, because they know that it's going to sell well, and if something's profitable, they're going to continue to do it, because, you know, capitalism. But yeah, I really hope that if this does well, they decide to bring all the DLCs out, because for 35, or as I said, £45, you're investing a decent chunk of change into something that might not ever get an update again if it doesn't do any DLC. And I don't know if it's just a PC thing, but generally, if you buy a game, it's going to get some updates, unless it's just a purely single-player, one-time through type of thing. It's going to get DLC, it's going to get updates, that's just part of games. But dropping so much money on something that will never get an update again, I don't know, it kind of rubbed me up the wrong way. Now, if you have Anno on PC already, especially if you have Anno with all the DLC on PC already, I don't think there's any way that I can recommend this console version to you, because, as I said, you're missing out on so much DLC. Even if you just have the base version of Anno on PC, I'd probably just recommend sticking to PC, because, you know, if you really enjoy it and you figure, oh, I want some more content, then you can get it immediately. It's going to be right there. The controls are better, especially if you're a PC player mainly, and there's not really any upside to getting the console edition other than, well, you can play it sat downstairs on your sofa. But if you really want to do that, there are ways to do that with your PC anyway, but I digress, because there's more digressions than Taz in this goddamn video. I need to cool it. Like I said, if you're coming from a PC edition to this, you're just getting a downgrade in content and downgrade in controls, if you ask me. Now, that sounds like I'm not recommending this game at all. Let me be clear, I 100% recommend this game unless that pre-criteria there is if you have this on PC and you have access to the DLC and you have a good computer that can run it. Say you have a PC that can't run this game, or you're getting rid of your PC for whatever reason, you know, having a child or something, so your wife says you can't have the PC, big L there, bro. But if you've still got your console and your PS5, then absolutely pick it up, because you've got a great game here with, as I said, hundreds of hours of gameplay. So if you're into city builders and you play purely on console, you don't have a very good PC that can't run it very well, then this is a great pickup. And as I said, if it does well and you get all the DLC, you're going to have a ton of content to look forward to released in the future. I don't know if there's going to be more content for Anno on the PC at this point, like if there's going to be a Season 5 that's going to work on the next game. But if you're a console player and they do decide to do more DLC, you're going to be looking forward to new, excellent content for years to come, and you're going to know how good that content is that's coming because it's already out on PC. And that's pretty rare, to know that content is coming and how good it is before you've even played it. Highly recommend this if you're a pure console player or if your PC can't run the base game. It's absolutely worth the £35. I'm not sure if I'd go for the 45 because the deluxe edition doesn't really seem to add much. I think you get the art book, the OST, and then some cosmetic things in-game. But honestly, I just stick with the base version because all those extra bits of fluff, unless you're really into that sort of thing, you don't really need them, and with the £35 edition, you've still got tons of content to play here. This game has been around for years, and it still gets regular updates. The player base is still super strong because there is just so much that you can do in it, even without any of the DLC. You can explore the other difficulties, make the game super hard and super challenging, or make it super easy and just have a nice sandbox where you can build whatever you want. You can make your islands as productive as possible, you can make your islands as beautiful as possible, zooming right and getting the most intricate details right, make them into little pockets of paradise if that's what you want to do. You can go against the massive number of AIs, which each have their own actual personalities, both in the way that they talk to you and in the way that they play the game and interact with you. Some of them are more aggressive militarily, some of them are economic powerhouses, some of them will just constantly buy shares of your island and put you under economic pressure, some of them will just launch millions of ships at you, some of them will be very passive and just work together with you and be nice and friendly. There is a massive range of AIs to play against, and each one that you pick changes how your game is going to play for hundreds of hours if they stick around that long. You can choose what playstyle you want to go for. You can take out the other players with economics. You can take out the other players with military. You can make a giant alliance and all function together as part of happy harmony, but we all know that you're not going to do that because that's not what gaming's for. You can explore the world and set up massive trade routes, shipping resources back and forth to make sure that every single person in your population is as happy as they can be and as productive as they can be, which is more important. I know I've said this so many times, but I cannot stress enough how there are hundreds of hours of gameplay in this basic edition of the game without any of the DLCs, so if you've never played Anno 1800 before and even remotely interested in city building and production chains, this is a great pickup for you. And this console edition is very, very playable, especially for console mainly players. So if you've got an Xbox or a PS5, I can't recommend picking this up enough if you're into those sorts of things. And I think that just about wraps up everything I have to say about this console edition of Anno 1800. Sorry this isn't a super in-depth or super long video. I've just explained this game and gone over my thoughts and feelings about it before in other videos, so I didn't feel the need to retread things and just want to focus hardcore on the console aspect of this game. If you want to check out my other Anno videos, then they are linked in the description, and if you want a complete beginner's guide to Anno 1800 going from starting the game all the way to the end game, then check out this video here. Yes, it does use PC controls and was created and made on PC, but if you just ignore the controls, it still goes over everything you need to know for the exact same console version.